Alright gang, I'm going to show you how to factor trinomials. The easier version, the version that has just a 1 in front of the x squared, so has a coefficient, that's called a coefficient right there, the number that's right in front of the x squared. So these are the easier ones, so let's get rolling. Okay, these are the steps, but I'm just going to run through by example. Alright, so on these ones, all you have to do is look for two numbers that multiply to be this last number. So that's 10, so we're looking for two numbers that multiply to be 10 and add up to be 7. So think about it a little bit, and eventually you will come up with the numbers 5 and 2. So then you can go right to the answer. You can make a double bubble, put x, and then plus 5 and plus 2. And that's it. That's your answer. Now you can check it, if you like, by multiplying. So you can FOIL it, you can distribute and get your original polynomial back again. So x times x, that's x squared. Then the outside is plus 2x. The inside is plus 5x. And then the last terms here, 5 times 2, which is 10. And you end up with the exact same thing we started with. So remember, the whole unit, whenever we're factoring, we're never changing the problem, we're just changing the form of the problem. Okay, next problem. Alright, so this one, we're looking for two numbers that multiply to be the last number and that add up to be negative 11. So let's think of two numbers that multiply to be 18 and add up to be negative 11. So eventually you will come up with negative 9 and negative 2, and then you just go right to your double bubble. So we have x, and then it's minus 9 and minus 2. Okay, next one we're looking for two numbers that multiply to be 25 and add up to be negative 10. Think about it a little bit, and eventually you will get negative 5 and negative 5. So go right to your double bubble, x and so minus 5 and minus 5, and that's your answer. Next one, we're looking for two numbers that multiply to be negative 40, and they're supposed to add up to be negative 3. So think a little bit there, and eventually you will get negative 8 and 5. So go right to your double bubble, x minus 8 and x plus 5. Now this one's a little bit different because it looks like it might be one of those harder trinomials that has a number other than a 1 in front of the x squared. But the first rule of factoring is that you always factor out the GCF first. This is not letting me write up there, so hold on one second. So factor out, I'm going to make a little note, factor out GCF first, always. No matter what kind of factoring we're doing. So we take the 2 out, and that leaves us with x squared plus 8x minus 20. And what we've done is we've created a easier trinomial now. So now it is the type where we can just look for two numbers that multiply to be -20 and add up to be 8. So let's think about those numbers. So with a little bit of thought, you'll come up with 10 and -2. And when you do that, you'll have to carry your 2 along for the ride. And then you'll have your x, and you'll have plus 10 and -2. And so that is your final answer. Ooh, I think my stylus is a little broken. That's scary. Okay, so, and then next one. Okay, so we have a GCF of 3x, and then we see what's left, and it would be x squared plus 13x plus 30. And so then we look to see, we're looking for two numbers that multiply to be 30 and add up to be 13. And so you'll think about that for a little bit and figure out that it's 10 and 3. So then we keep the 3x along for the ride, and then we go right to our double bubble, x, and plus 10 and plus 3. Okay, and I think I'm going to go, actually, I'm going to do that next. I'm going to do the next area one. So let's see, area of a rectangular garden is given by this trinomial. So really, if it's area, that just means that it's length times width, and so we're just looking for what could the potential two factors be, and so it's same exact process. So we're just looking for two numbers that multiply to be 24 and add up to be 14. So let's think, that would be 12 and 2. So that means our double bubble would be x plus 12 and x plus 2. Well, what that means is that one of those would be the length, so the longer one would be x plus 12, and then the other side would be x plus 2, the smaller side. That's it. Just factor it, and that becomes your length and width of the area. Let's see if this next one is any harder. No, looks the same. This one's a square though, but same process. X squared minus 16x plus 64. And so we have the 64 here, and we have the -16 there. So we're looking for two numbers that multiply to be 64 and add up to be -16. So -8 and -8. So we go right to our double bubble. X minus 8, x minus 8. And so put those in there. X minus 8. So there you go. So the length of one side of the square is x minus 8. That's it. 9-minute quick video on how to factor trinomials.